the timeline on Garoppolo, it worked out for teams in this boat that are interested in Deshaun. They just happened to have this hearing last Friday. And maybe what would have happened if the Deshaun thing was in 2 Fridays and teams are trying to figure out, do we want Garoppolo? Do we not want Garoppolo? If you're Carolina, do you want Garoppolo? Do you not want Garoppolo? If you're the Colts, do you want Garoppolo? Would you rather wait on Deshaun and then maybe miss out on Garoppolo and end up with nothing?
But this gets back to guy, you got to do deals.
But my point is that's not the hypothetical. Deshaun thing happened, and now teams have a much clearer picture, and they know that the Niners need to move Garoppolo in the next 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, I think Deshaun got a little lucky on just the timing of it, that it happened last Friday and not next Friday, because the amount of money changing hands over the next 48 hours, like you just run out of cap space. No one leaves.
But what if he just wanted to go to Carolina and they were like, we can't wait, we got to go get Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah,
but that's not happening anymore.
Jimmy is a no trade too, but they're in different situations because ultimately Jimmy wants to make $27 million next year, and
right.
He can facilitate it, where Deshaun's making his money no matter what. And I think a lot of teams would look at it like, we got him on a pretty good deal, right? He's under a team. We can pay him $35 million for the next couple years. Like, that is very, very team-friendly when Matt Stafford's about to make 48 and Rodgers about to make 50.
I mean, there's going to have to be a renegotiation. He's under contract for 4 more seasons at 35, 20, 32, and 32. I mean...
Yeah, I'd say part of it is like, Deshaun, let's just see if you can stay on the straight and narrow on that. Like, there's no negotiation for a couple of years.
No. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In a couple of years, it honestly might be after this year when he goes from 35 to 20. But whatever, that's another day's conversation. I just think what I'm trying to get at is a conversation about the timeline on Garoppolo's trade now, right? Because now that Deshaun is a little clear, I'm not calling it clear, but a little clear, and teams can move quicker on him, it means that once that gets settled, operating with the assumption that Deshaun would happen before Jimmy, but it may not necessarily be that way, right? A team might know right now today Deshaun has said he doesn't want to come to us, or / we don't want Deshaun, and so we're out. Deshaun has nothing to do with Jimmy. But, I would even say those two markets are very different, right? Like, Deshaun goes for a 1-1 or 4 1s. Like, he was not going for 1-1. So...
I still do think 2 teams. I mean, a reporter said this, so it doesn't mean the team said this. But a reporter that covers Pittsburgh said they're out. Right?
On Deshaun.
So if that's true, and Indy is not an option because it's not, those 2 teams would be Jimmy destination still. And the Saints, who I think are an option, they are clearly trying to get Deshaun first. Right? Jimmy would be their fallback. So they're all in on trying to make this trade, and they need him to say yes, right? And then they'll just do whatever it takes to fit him under the cap and get him there. But I think that it would not shock me if tomorrow, on Monday or Tuesday, Jimmy Garoppolo is traded to the Colts or the Steelers. These other teams, specifically Carolina and New Orleans, I think you could include Carolina too, that they would, if they can't have Deshaun, like Jimmy is way better than Sam Darnold, they will wait to see what happens with Deshaun before he goes there. But if you told me tomorrow at lunchtime Jimmy Garoppolo is traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers for like a third and a contingent second or whatever the fucking compensation is, very believable, right?
Yeah.
Now, but I'm also of the belief, like, I don't know for sure that the Steelers aren't sniffing around on Deshaun. They'd not be doing their job too, unless, one story was the Eagles last year sent a detective, not like an actual detective, but like a Ray Donovan level detective, down to Houston to just get some, like, I think several teams, if you're worth your salt, have done stuff like that. They've sent people down, to do a little recon just to gather, like, what are we really dealing with here? And I've said this over and over. The league people I've talked to, no one knows for sure. The only people that know are Deshaun and the 22 chicks. But I think one thing he's told people, and clearly the vibe was, he's not a huge party guy, and he used this to have sex. Like, it was like I get a massage, and then I would have sex consensually with all these chicks. And clearly, whether they're, who knows? I don't.
You're just saying
struggle
that was his explanation. Understood. Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people in the league think. But it doesn't really matter what they think until it goes away or it doesn't go away. Because if ultimately it was charged, or ultimately these people start suing and starts paying him to go away, then there's just an added variable there that is one thing. Like, Jimmy has red flags physically. I mean, he's hurt right now. He does not have any question marks with, you got to worry about him getting in any trouble. I mean, the craziest thing he ever did was take a porn star out, and like, let's face it, he's by no means
on a
gonna
date,
be
which is a pretty crazy thing to do. Not
young.
crazy like crazy. Now that's insane. Just like, man, how did he think that wouldn't get attention? Crazy in that way. A harmless crazy.
And I don't know if he was quite ready for the TMZ that was going to.
That's what I
follow
mean.
him.
That's what I mean.
But I guess my point is, like, he is by no means the first and won't be the last professional athlete to take out a porn chick.
Of course not. I'm saying what was crazy is to like try to do it under the radar, but not at all succeed at trying to do it under the radar.
Ideally, no one actually cares. You just don't want your quarterback. You don't want your quarterback involved in anything, right? You just don't want him involved in anything. Right? Even the Chiefs, who love Patrick, I do think it wears them out a little bit, the brother and the wife. But that's not even Patrick, right? Even though it kind of is, but it's like the brother definitely is not. The wife, like, he did choose to marry her. They got married yesterday and looked happy. But it's a constant something. I'd say Josh Allen and even Lamar, I mean, are just pretty, nothing has ever happened since they've been in the league. Which is nice. You just want. And Jimmy,
well, another team as it relates to Jimmy that, Arians called Deshaun a organizational
untouchable.
Well, he didn't say untouchable. He just said that's an organizational decision, which means the Glazers would have to sign off on that, right? Chris Greer has said the Dolphins are not interested. Saying it's an organizational decision, maybe that was true. Maybe it wouldn't have been true. Maybe he was saying that when he thought Tom might still come back. Maybe he didn't know. But one thing is clear, Tom's return absolutely eliminates the Bucs, and it just creates another. There is a domino on Garoppolo when Tom Brady returns. That is one team that needed a quarterback that is definitively not getting Deshaun Watson, that could push him to another team that would be interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. So,
yeah.
But the bottom line is Monday, Tuesday. Doesn't it feel like Wednesday would be too late for a Garoppolo trade?
Yes, to me, Jimmy Garoppolo's trade in the next 48 hours.
So, as we say this Monday night,
I would say this from an NFC standpoint. If the Saints were to get Deshaun, again, unknown coach, how he'd be, but their team on paper would look pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they went now.
Michael Thomas is back?
He's back, yeah.
He's back?
In theory. Yeah, you think.
14-minute drive Jimmy is the best. That from the comment section. It really was a good Garoppolo. 14-minute Garoppolo drive.
Oh. What do you think? 9 runs?
9 runs.
Screens?
I mean, you could get to the
2
grocery
screens
store,
and a couple slants.
not use self-checkout, buy a few items and get back before the drive ended, depending on how close you are to a grocery store. That's go down to the corner gas station liquor store. That's pretty impressive.